Hello, good day. My name is Tom van Dolder. I'm responsible for the advisory practice at Nextview. And I'm going to guide you through our Nextview remote way of working. And it's the basics modules. So after this module, you should know about the basics of remote working. And I will guide you through that. So welcome. Well, as you know, we have our handbook, which you can also find on our website about our Nextview way of working in remote projects. And it's a guideline we made from our best practices to guide you through different client situations, different meetings, and different project phases. And we already hear great stories from our projects because we see rising efficiency. The pollution, of course, is going down because less travel. And also we see a new talent pool in people working remote, so we can also get attention of other talent. And also your life balance could be better, so also we see a downside. So this is also in the basics module about how to stay healthy. So as a basis, please take a look at the handbook and also share best practices and ideas, because only together we can make this better and better. And be creative and make it part of our daily work. And if you do this right, this is a differentiator in project quality. Some first key things to keep in mind. What to think about when working remotely in the project. So the first thing is about what's the context of the project. The people you are working with, are they used to remote working? What people are they? What age? What background do they have? What's the available hardware, firewalls, etc. And you should also be more aware of the different meetings you have, and preparation become even more important. I will come back to that later on in this module. You have different meetings to influence others, not physical, doing it remotely, making decisions, solving problems, or strengthening relationships can be more difficult in working remotely. Since all of these are active processes, passive passengers in a meeting rarely do quality work. So engagement in a meeting is very important. Come back to that later also. And the precondition for effective meeting, virtual or also physical, is voluntary engagement. So this module is about you being aware of the importance of being part of this, and we will guide you to the basic for success. And one of the first things about is the total well-being when working remotely, because next to the great stories around our current way of working, we also feel the pressure on our schedule and have to get used to a new way of working. As we experience in remote working, the rhythm is totally different than working on site. So be aware of to stay fit, relax, keep moving, vary in working environment, sleep and eat healthy, and be aware and agree on working hours with teams and with your family. I see it in my own life at the moment. Travel time has become working time, private and work fading even more away, and days can be over full and tiring. So you need to get in control of a new rhythm. So think through these points for yourself and your family and friends. And a great tip at the bottom of the page, a strongly recommended great trail mix from Salesforce around health and working remotely. So with lots of guidance for staying healthy. So absolutely recommended to take a look at that also. The opportunity, if you do this right, because there's a lot of upside in it. So we see more productivity and efficiency. What I mentioned earlier, less impact on the environment and work-life balance. This can be a good way, but you have to be very careful how you set up your life in your diary. Also, we see a huge talent pool access in a different way. And it can be a huge differentiator in projects and helping our clients in a new way of working. So looking at our values, you probably know our values when you've worked with us. We work as friends. We simply deliver excellence. We do business with our hearts. And we see a new sort of underlying new reality beneath it, that we want to have it a mix, in the most efficient mix of working on site and remotely. So this is a funny example of when a moderator asks questions in a call, and you get this response. Well, you know that the guy or woman wasn't really engaged in the meeting. So this module is all about engagements and the basics around that. So here are some guidance for the basics for every meeting. Yeah, as you know, within Nextview we have a policy or camera on. It keeps you engaged. It's one of the real basic things. It gives interaction. You see each other. And you also see more of the children of your colleagues, when I think it's awesome, but sometimes you see funny situations. But the camera on is a prerequisite to engage and prevent also yourself from doing other stuff. Another point is to participate. This starts with preparation, of course, from the host, to think about the agenda, the tool you use, who to invite, breaking one meeting up in more meetings, etc. But also for participants, it's about coming well prepared to the meeting. Dress for work, that's an interesting, because the important one, if you meet with clients, how do you feel when you stand in front of a mirror, when you look at your clothing and how you are looking that day? Be sharp and dress for work. Dressing like you are on a holiday has an influence on your mindset. And besides that, when your camera is on, you are in front of your client and colleagues, and we want to make the right professional impression, like you also want to do when you're on site with a client. Your wall, that's about, what do you see behind you? What do you, when you look through your camera? Microsoft Teams and Zoom, for instance, has nice features to blur your background or your room. Hangouts does not. You can also have great backgrounds in other tools. But if you don't have that, you have to think, what do people in the meeting see behind me? Is it looking sharp, organized? And be aware of your room and what you show behind you. Next point mentioned earlier, be prepared. Meetings preparations is always important, but online meetings preparation even more important. As a host, as well as participants, be aware of the necessary preparations, the tooling, the meeting setup, and we will show you more in the other online modules. I will tell you more about that later on. Another important thing is know your tooling in which you are working. Sometimes you will be working in the tooling of the client. Sometimes you have to install an app for Microsoft Teams, for example. So be on time. Install stuff the day before and enter the meeting 10 minutes before, if this is the first time you use the tool. Know where the buttons are to mute, present, camera, arrange permissions for your microphone and camera, and permissions, if necessary, to present. And do that upfront, because if you're in a meeting and you're struggling with your tool, that can be very frustrating for yourself, but also for your participants. And do not forget to laugh or bring other elements, of course. Also, like physical meetings, try to bring some fun, some other elements than the projects. And so, as a guidance for that, take a look at the other module about the social aspects of remote working to get some inspiration. There's really cool stuff in there to get your meetings lively. And then the meetings itself. First of all, what meetings? Because the governance is very important. As you are not walking around each other on a daily basis when you work remote, a good governance is even more important. So project meetings, stand-ups, but also checkouts at the end of the day can give the client the comfort of being in control of the output and give you more the situation to collaborate with your clients. And besides that, again, be aware of the different meetings and what you want to achieve. So the different types, the different meetings and project phases also so far can be found in the handbook. And for some of them we go to in more detail in the other modules around testing, sprint design, design workshops and trainings. So each meeting with another goal and another setup. So also for different meetings, prepare for the right meeting. Already mentioned several times. What kind of meeting are you in, and what preparation is needed to blow them away? And reflect on the outcome and share best practices and adjust the meeting setup where needed. Another important thing is also about limiting the length of the meeting. Think through how you design your meetings. Testing normally takes place in a full day, packed in a room when you do it in a physical environment. But now, remotely, our best practice is to break them up in streams with own hangouts, with intervals, or for example, 2 hours testing and half an hour feedback in the hangout. Working on findings in Google Sheets. Hanging your meetings too long is tiring and not always the most efficient way. So vary it in length and teams to get the most efficient way of working together. Another important thing is to have clear roles. In the meeting you need clear roles. Who's presenting, who's the host, and make clear agreements up front. Who's doing what and how you want to organize your meetings. And even more important than in physical life, it's about clear actions and owners in your meeting. Because you don't want to have tourists in your meetings. So you need to be strict on actions and owners. And at the end of the meeting, be clear who's doing what and clear about the responsibility in the different meetings. So this was about the basics. And we have some great other modules, which you can also find on working remotely. One is about the sprint design week in the sprint, how you can organize that. We have a great module about design workshops, which you also have a demo of Miro, our tool we use for the design workshops. Also a great one on social aspects of remote working, how to make it interactive, have some fun, and yeah, get the things you do normally at the coffee machine or other stuff. Also a great one about testing remote, how you can organize that and how you can make that a great experience and make it very effectively. One great module about remote training, how you can organize remote training for a big project. And another one about Sitecall for services, which is also a great view on Sitecall integrated in Salesforce for servers. So this was about the basics of working in remote projects. If you have any questions, my contact details are on the slide, so do not hesitate to contact me or my colleagues for any questions or feedback. And let's share best practices, because together we can make it even better. So I want to thank you for your attention and have a nice day and enjoy the other modules. Thank you very much.